right, so welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be diving into a question that I get asked a lot, and it's why don't we see very many K-swapped third generation Preludes? And then also why I personally didn't go that route. So now, for those of you guys who are new to the channel, I do a lot of stuff, it's mostly car related, and there's also some stuff about watches. And right now, I'm answering questions that I get asked regularly in regards to the third generation Prelude. So I've owned one for 5 years, and the current one, but I've had them kind of floating around for the better part of 8 years. So I'm pretty versed on this community, and on the car, and I've been part of the community for quite a while. So obviously, if you do want to see more stuff like that, make sure to hit the subscribe button to stay in contact, and you can ask me any question you want, especially in regards to those cars, because at the end of the day, I want to help you with your projects. There are 3 things I'm going to cover in this video. Number 1, we're going to talk about the physical issues with the engine. Second, we're going to talk about the logistical issues with it, and then with the swap. And then third, we're going to talk about the financial issues. Okay, so now for those people who really care about which watch I'm wearing, obviously I'm going to do a wrist check, and I'm wearing my Orient Mako USA 2 with the white dial. Really love this watch. It's a great value watch. But anyways, for those people who care about my watches. So now, what I was saying with the first one is the physical issues. So now I'm actually going to kind of make a disclaimer. At the end of the day, this is your money. You can do whatever you want with it. And this is I'm just stating basically opinions and then facts and trying to give you a general overview of things. Now, I am not trying to be biased in engine choice. I am going to be very clear and state to you that I honestly think that the K series is a better platform than the H or F series. I have owned my Honda Prelude currently with my F20B swapped in it for 4 years. Now, I'm going to move along because that's just kind of a thing. I just want to get that out of the way, is that so you know I'm not just bashing the K series engine because I don't like it. I personally do like it more. But now, first of all, we have the physical issues. The physical issues being the engine is taller than an F20B or an H22 or the bastard B like the B20A5 or the B21A1. It is a taller engine, which means it's going to sit in the bay differently. And there's either 2 ways to overcome basically the way it mounts. So either A, you drop it down, because if you just try and mount it in, the hood will not close. So you can either A, cut a huge hole in the hood, and I would say personally ruin the hood line of the car to let the valve cover basically sit so you can have adequate ground clearance. If you don't, you have to lower it and you get absolutely piss poor ground clearance. Now, with the F20B in my Prelude, I don't have the best ground clearance as is with the swap, because when Honda designed the vehicle, they gave it that nice sweeping, very low hood line that was actually more designed to be kind of like an engine-less design, kind of mimicking like, a kind of like a mid-engine vehicle. So when you're installing a very tall engine in a very short bay, it's physical issues. So either A, you get crap ground clearance, or B, you're cutting a hole up and ruining the hood line of the vehicle. So just take those into consideration. That just leads me into the second thing, the logistical issues. So now Car Throttle, pretty much a lot of you guys have probably heard of them. They had a third generation Honda Prelude that they had featured on, I believe it was a gold one, quite a while ago, and they were talking about how they were going to K-swap this car for quite some time. And I was actually, I held my breath in the sense, and I was just like, I gave a little laugh because I knew they probably weren't going to do it, and they were going to abandon the project eventually once they figured out how difficult it was. And they had some guys who really knew what they were doing who were going to work on this vehicle. But they actually got rid of the car. They never completed this, which should be a red flag to you guys who are thinking, yeah, sure, I can do it. Probably can't. First of all, this swap isn't a well-documented swap at all. If you go online, there are plenty of people asking about this. Not a lot of people who've actually done it. There are people who have done it, though. Don't be like, oh, well, it's been done. Anybody can do it. Sure. But there are no mounts for it. Currently, at the state we speak, there are no mounts for this car. You have to do the R&D, and you have to create your own mounts. So if you want a fabrication shop to do that, that's going to get really pricey really quick. If you either that, or you have to figure out how that engine's going to sit there and create custom axles for that. There are a lot of issues in regards to R&D, and you would have to have good CAD programming to understand how am I going to mount the engine in the car, wire everything up, because obviously the engine is OBD2, and figure out how you're gonna, there's just a sheer amount of wizardry and logistical issues with it that I'm not really ready to deal with. I wouldn't be ready, and I think most people who think about this, they're not ready to deal with this either. I'm not saying it can't be done, but I'm just saying that it's just when you have to fabricate your own mounts and you have to figure that and do all the design R&D yourself, yes, it's not very easy. Which brings me to the third point. So, and the third point is the financial issues that I see with this. Now, I knew one guy who was getting his K-Swap 3rd Gen, and he was from the local Honda community here in Edmonton. And I don't know the status of his vehicle. Maybe it's done, maybe it isn't. But to my knowledge, when I talked to him about 3 or 4 years ago, it would have been 4 years ago when I just got my F20B put in, he was at about $10,000 into this swap. And that's Canadian, by the way, which begs me to differ, because I say $3.5 to $5 grand for an H or an F swap. 10 grand to get to 200 horsepower versus 3 to 5 or 3.5 to about $3,000 to $5,000 to get to 200 horsepower. That's a lot of money, like an insane amount of money to spend. And if you have your own shop, your own access to CAD programs, you are a master fabricator, you have insane mechanical skills, yeah, it's going to be cheaper. But if you aren't any of those, you are going to bleed money. You are basically going to be shoveling money into the fire to get to that. And I would say, unless you're just trying to be super cool and unique and you don't care about burning money, then have at her. When you spend, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 on a car, chances are you don't want to drop 10 grand on an engine swap. You would much rather take the more economical route that leads you to a kind of a similar outcome. And also, I can't justify spending 10 grand to have crap ground clearance and hack apart my hood. And I'm not willing to just even go that route. So anyways, that's kind of I would say a little bit of a rant, but answering the questions that I was asked. And if you do have any other questions that you have for me, obviously you can ask them down in the comments. You can follow me on Instagram. I'll put my Instagram, I'll put that down in the description below, and you can see my car over there. But as I said, if this helped you out in any way or made up your mind or you have anything to say, obviously, like the video if you did like it, obviously, and then subscribe to see more awesome stuff in the future. And with that out of the way and everything, I'm going to leave it off there. So make sure you have a fantastic day. Take care, and I'll see you later.